Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex and I would greatly appreciate if you want to support me, if you want to support the channel, if you would consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and it inspires me to keep creating. And I'm a little late with Traitors, okay? I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things, so thanks for bearing with me. But today we are going to talk about episodes 4 and 5 of the Traitors. And let me just tell you, if you are not watching Traitors, watch this show. Like, it doesn't even really matter if you know the people. You don't have to know the cast. Because I feel like sometimes people think because it's cast from other shows, you need to know the cast to enjoy it. No. This season is very good. I think last season was good, but this season is like, it is good. Like, we have bad gameplay, we have people who are on the mark completely, we also have people that are completely off the mark but swear they are on the mark. So really check out this show if you have not seen it. Now let's jump into it. So we begin at the beginning of episode 4 with Gabby remembering that she heard Danielle's voice coming from the bookcase. Remember, they were all meeting up in the bookcase in the secret room back there that's near the bar, and Gabby heard them, and a lot of other people heard them. And I feel like they didn't even try to be discreet. They all just went in there and were talking. Now, Gabby does not want to say anything because she doesn't want Danielle, I should say, off her, because I feel like you two be kind of she doesn't want Danielle to off her immediately.
I'm like, what is going on here? Something sketchy for sure.
Hi, Gab.
So I scurry because if she is a traitor, I don't want to be caught.
So Dylan is also realizing something, and Dylan is on the ball, okay? Dylan is like Peter from last season. If you watch, you really need to watch out for Dylan, because say what you want about him, he is observant and he is really picking up on things. So Dylan does go into the open bookshelf and he's like, it looks weird in here. Like, what is this? What is this scroll? What's that dagger over there? Is there a book missing? Why did they leave the bookcase open? I'ma just need Danielle, Rob, and Carolyn to let me know why, and Bob, why they left the bookshelf open. Because now everybody was able to walk up in that joint. So anyways, Alan, he gong.
Go outside. Nice knowing you.
Fuck.
Oh my God.
Hold on, is this for real?
Oh no, what the hell's going on? Oh.
He rings the bell and he is calling the players into the dead of night right now. And he lets them know, look, you see these 3 open coffins here? 3 of you guys are at risk to get offed tonight, okay? So you're gonna be inside these coffins and then the traitors are gonna come out and hammer it and you gonna be gone. So we find out that the 3 people that are at risk are Nikki, Jeremy, and Sierra.
Nothing to worry about.
Honestly,
They did not end up choosing Carolyn because remember there was some talk that they wanted to do Carolyn because she's a loose cannon and blah, blah, blah. But ultimately, they did not end up going with her. Now, Jeremy straight up is like, look, I think Danielle's a traitor, okay? Like, if she is here, she's in trouble. He says that he is on her heels if he is the one that ends up staying. He does feel like Danielle has put him up. And remember, he was saying Danielle's name and he was kind of the one that has started the murmurs about Danielle being a potential traitor. Now, Sierra claims she's going to find the traitors and hunt them down. All right, sis, you're not doing much right now. You kind of in the background, but I hear you. And then lastly, Nikki says, look, my biggest asset is my strength and I can help you guys add to the pot. Okay, Nikki, it's not giving much either. So the traitors do come out and immediately Bob, the drag queen, is like, we are eating. Yes, we are eating. Like, they don't even know it's us. We are so discreet. And I'm like, Bob, little do you know that everyone's on your heels. Everybody is on your heels, Bob. So we get to breakfast. So Robin immediately thinks that it is Nikki and Jeremy that have been traitors the entire time. She kind of starts this theory that the traitors went into the boxes to throw people off. That's kind of a theory that Robin decided to start, and some people did start to buy into it. I get the theory, but at the same time, kind of out of left field if you ask me. Now, Gabby is telling like the housewives and just the women that are there that she heard Danielle's voice in the bookcase. So again, Danielle is on the radar. Now, Robin is like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think Danielle's a traitor. I just don't see it. No explanation, just, I don't think it's her. So Carolyn is like, I feel like nobody is listening to me because honestly, I felt like last night's murder was very hard. That's what she says in the confessional. And remember, Carolyn, if we're rating the traitors, I feel like Carolyn was on the bottom rung at this point in time where it just kind of felt like everybody thought she was like kind of loopy and like didn't really, airheaded almost. So everybody is starting to go with this theory that there was a traitor in the coffins. And of course, Boston Rob is pushing this theory heavily because it takes the heat off of him. So when Danielle walks in, they decide to bring up the bookcase. And Danielle is like, they bring up the bookcase. Sorry. Let me say this differently. They start to bring up the bookcase again and how they heard certain voices in the bookcase and what was going on as soon as Danielle walks in. And Danielle decides she's going to chime in and be like, oh yeah, Dylan and I went in the bookcase. And then Bob the drag queen also chimes in and is like, yeah, I mean, I went in too. Like a bunch of people went in. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Danielle and Danielle and Bob the drag queen, I'm like, what in the world are y'all doing? Because they are talking a little bit too much for me, okay? The two of them are playing entirely too safe and are being entirely too loud. And I'm like, what is this? So Danielle does realize that Gabby is onto them. She says this in the confessional, but she's like, she's just a little Bambi. She's, no one's going to care about what she has to say. Like, she's just in here to look cute. Okay, Danielle, you better hope that's true. So we find out that Jeremy was offed last night.
Point. Jeremy must die tonight.
Do it. He dies.
Bye, Jeremy.
So they do flash back to Danielle saying that she wants him to go because he said her name. Now, Rob says if they come for one of us, they're coming for all of us. So at this time, the traitors are still a group at this time. So Carolyn is very upset because because they offed part of her family in the survivor family. So it was hard for her. And again, Carolyn is at a place where she's not really feeling like anyone's hearing her out. She kind of feels like her opinions are at the very bottom. And Nikki does say, so Nikki chimes in and she's like, I could hear the traitors. Like when we came out, I could hear them. And Bob the drag queen is like, really? You could hear them? You could? How many do you think there was? Huh? And I'm like, again, what are you doing, Bob? What are you doing? Why in the world is Bob being so vocal? Like, I understand you are a big personality, but I do feel like as a traitor, you still need to lay low. There needs to be a balance. In my opinion, you can't act too drastically different from your actual personality because I do think that throws people off. But I think in the same vein, you need to be like kind of balancing it out. There's no reason why you need to be the one chiming in asking how many traitors there were. But anyway, Nikki says, I don't know, maybe two, but I do think it was somebody who had like light footsteps or something like that. I'm not sure. So Danielle's like, a few minutes later, Danielle's like, oh, so you said that the person in there had like light footsteps? Like, what's that all about? And Nikki is like, I do remember Jeremy, mentioning that Danielle, might be a traitor. And now it is sus that she is asking in the confessional. So Rob is like, look, I think we made the right decision off in Jeremy because everyone now is onto Nikki and Sierra. Because again, peddled by Rob, they put this idea out here that it was actually the traitors in the boxes trying to throw everybody off in the coffins. So, post-breakfast, Tom is telling Robin, Brittany, and Carolyn that he feels like Sierra got recruited into the traitors. Tom is one of our people where I feel like he's not quite on it. If I'm being honest, he's not quite on it. Now, Danielle, Ivar, and Wes, they think Nikki is a traitor. Danielle. But they think Nikki is a traitor and she was in the coffin to try to throw them off. Of course, Danielle is feeling that. So Rob asks Gary and Gabby and Derek about the theory that one of the traitors put themselves in the box. And they're kind of like, I didn't think of it, but maybe. And Dylan still thinks Bob, the drag queen, is a traitor. Dylan has not come off of Bob's heels from the beginning. So Chrishell is like, look, I'm going to say something to you and it doesn't leave this room, because he's talking to Chrishell. Chrishell's like, look, he is deathly afraid of being caught, okay? So if you say his name, you might not be here. So in other words, if you take a shot, it better land. All right, so the mission. Basically, they have to build statues of each of them. There's only spots for 10 statues. And if you put the head on your statue and have the full statue built, you get a shield. So immediately, most of the guys are running to get the heads of their statues and just building up themselves. And all of the women and Bob the drag queen are noticing that a lot of the guys are playing for themselves. This has been a common theme. We've seen in the other missions that the guys have really been playing for themselves, running to make sure they complete the missions and definitely not being team players.
I feel like you're not as strong. Two people should be on the bodies, not on the heads. Leave the heads for the stronger people.
This mission.
So Bob the drag queen is like, look, leave the heads for the stronger people and go for the bodies, okay? I don't know if he was trying to sabotage the mission with that, as a traitor. I'm not really sure. So Bob H, he's having a very, very hard time with this. He was a personal trainer on The Biggest Loser, and 7 years ago, he had a heart attack. So before this, he used to be able to kill these hills. He used to be able to just get up there, go, be super strong. But now, obviously, after the heart attack, things are different for him. So he's really been having a hard time realizing he just doesn't have the stamina that he used to have. So Robin and really everyone else, meanwhile, they are noticing how selfish it was that Tom went to put the head on his statue without helping. I believe Tom was the first person to put his head on the statue. Bob H has the head on the statue, Bob the drag queen, Rob, they all get the heads on their statues. Now someone is like, everyone needs a shield. Like, how do we decide the 10? And Bob the drag queen is like, that's not true. No, we don't. And again, Bob, why are you the loudest? Why are you the loudest? I cannot get over how bad this, I liked Bob the drag queen as a person. I just cannot get over how bad his gameplay is, because why are you the loudest person? So Brittany and Danielle at the 5-minute mark, they do get their heads on. So at least some women have the heads on their statues. But in the end, they did add the 20K to the prize pot. Now, Bob, the drag queen, right after the mission is like, I don't know, man, but maybe we should be looking at the new guys, they all needed shields and they all ran to get the shields real quickly because maybe they're the traitors. We need to watch out for them. So he's basically implying that all of the 3 new guys that got in after everybody else, we need to watch out for them because they all ran to put the heads on their statues and there is a reason why. And Rob heard that issue, was like, what is he doing? What is he saying? What is going on? Post-mission. So Rob is in the car on the way back and he is realizing that Bob speaking up about the 3 new guys put a lot of sus on him.
Faithfuls some blood. So what I want to do is blindside Bob the drag queen. And
he is like, at this point, I'm gonna be completely honest, I want to blindside Bob the drag queen tonight. Flat out. Rob's like, you try to betray me, you try to put me in danger, I want you out. So Rob decides that he's going to go to Dylan. Well, first he decides he's going to plant a seed with the faithfuls, and the faithful he knows that he needs to plant that seed with is Dylan, because Dylan is already on the train. So he goes to Dylan, he lets him know, look, I want out Bob, the drag queen. Now Dylan goes over to Ivar. Dylan is like, I'm gonna be honest though, I kind of feel like this is all smoke and mirrors and maybe they're just playing us. So I'm not so sure if we should actually go for this move tonight. Now, Wes wants Sierra to go for Nikki. He feels that the votes may be split 50-50. So again, they're still kind of on the Sierra and Nikki thing and that they were in the box because they were actually traitors trying to throw people off. So Rob then goes to Chriselle and he's like, look, would you vote Bob the drag queen out? And she's like, I don't know. I just really don't know if I can vote that way. So Derek then goes to Nikki and is like, look, Rob, he wants to go for Bob the drag queen tonight. So Nikki's like, I can't vote like that. Like, I'm not going to vote like that. No. So a lot of the women are not really feeling that vote, as we see. So Rob then is like, all right, I need to talk to Carolyn and Danielle, the two of us. So he's like, look, I've been hearing Bob the drag queen's name everywhere, okay? He's playing it like he's heard other people say it. And he's like, look, if you guys get on board, it could be the three of us and we could move forward. And Danielle's like, no, like we were supposed to banish Sierra tonight. That was the plan. Bob is my ride or die. Like, absolutely not. That is not happening. I'm not going for that. She says that in the confessional. So Carolyn, then pulls Rob aside after Danielle's wherever. And she's like, is this really happening? Like, do we actually and really have the votes for this? Like,
So by me putting this plan in motion, I'm protecting my ride and die.
The drag queen. I thought you were. I am. You know that.
like, is this the plan? And he's like, look, we have the votes. Like, you gotta go with this. Okay. So to the round table, Wes decides that he is going to start. And he says, everyone believes you're a traitor, Nikki, okay? We believe that a traitor put themselves in the coffin and that, you are a showwoman. Like, you would take the opportunity to throw us off. I guess because she was on WWE, so she's a showwoman. Now, Nikki's like, I feel like a traitor would think silence is golden. And Wes, you just yapped a lot. You're talking a lot. So Chriselle is like, I feel like, yeah, that's a good theory, the whole thing about the coffins and everything, but I just feel like it's wrong. Now, Derek is like, look, you guys are assuming that a traitor wasn't obligated to go into the coffin. Like, I don't know, you guys are assuming that they would just do it for fun to throw you off. So, So Jeremy, and he's like, look, Jeremy and Nikki, they pled their case, but Sierra did not. Also, and then he goes into his I'm a detective stuff, because Derek is a detective. He loves to let us know on Big Brother, and here he's like, also as a detective, I feel like sometimes people would use profanity to show emotion, to kind of throw people off the scent and try to plead their case, and she did use a lot of profanity. So I don't know. I feel like we need to be looking at Sierra, and I'm like, oh, okay. So Sierra tries to fight back, and Rob is like, look, I'ma speak up now. You guys are missing it. They are trying to get you two to fight with each other. But there is one person that has been steamrolling everything. There has been one person that's been at the forefront of everything whose name has not been said. Take a look. Think about it. Everybody at this table, think about it all. Every single time something goes wrong, this person has a deflection. He's like, Bob the drag queen. And Bob's like, and I was like, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't get why the traitors are going against each other this early. In my personal opinion, I get it. I do think 4 traitors is a lot. So I do understand wanting to get out maybe one traitor earlier on, just to make them a little less able to be seen. Because as I said, I do think 4 traitors kind of is a lot. But it just seemed so early. I think Rob was very lucky that there was already people, Dylan and co, who kind of had a feeling about Bob the drag queen. All right. So Dylan is like, look, the hardest part of going after Bob the drag queen is that everybody loves him. Like, he's a well-loved person. It's hard to bring him to the forefront. But as Rob said, there's always some kind of deflection every single time something goes down. So Bob is like, I'm going to say 7 words, I think. He's like, I swear to God, I am a faithful. And Rob says 2 words, you're not. And I was like, ooh, ooh.
I'm standing 10 toes down. You are scared of me. Everything he said about me.
Now, Bob is like, look, you're scared of me. This is why you're doing this, because you're afraid of me. Everything that you've tried to claim about me today is actually referring to you. And Dylan's like, look, Bob, you are an amazing actor, okay? I grew up with an actor. I know actors. And Bob's drag queen is like, not a good one. I was like, oh, don't you call it Zac Efron? But they go on to vote. And honestly, almost unanimously, Bob the drag queen is banished. The only people notably who did not vote for Bob the drag queen are Gabby and Derek, who both voted for Sierra, Tom, who voted for Nikki, Robin voted for Sierra, and Wes voted for Nikki, and Nikki voted for Sierra. So those are the only people who did not vote for Bob the drag queen, but everybody else did. Bob is banished, and of course it is revealed that he is a traitor.
Guys, I said I swear to God. God!
I think this plan was okay because it worked, okay? I think they had the ammo, they had the legs, they were able to do it. However, especially if I was, let's say, Dylan, I would be very careful because I feel like Dylan could put a target on his back very quickly. I also think Rob needs to be careful because I think right now he's kind of insulated with trying to kind of put the feelers out with Dylan and have him on the faithful side. But again, all it takes is people turning against you because they realize that you know too much. So Danielle is like very upset after this. She's like, everyone thinks he's a hero. Like, this is insanity that everyone thinks he's a hero. Everyone thinks he's this great guy. And it's just not really fair. So Dylan is singing Rob's praises. He is obsessed with this man, thinks he is literally the greatest. Carolyn is very unsure if they made the right decision. And Rob does decide that he, as I said, wants to solidify something with Dylan. So he does pull him aside. He's basically like, I want to work with him, and then off him at the end of the show. Not a bad plan. I mean, it's not a bad plan if it works. Now, Wes says to Chrishell and Ivar, though, because Wes is a little suspicious. He's like talking to Chrishell and Ivar, and he's like, how do you know someone is a traitor 100%? And they try to be like, well, you don't. And he's like, no. You do. If you are a traitor yourself. Okay, Wes, the wheels are turning. And maybe their wheels are turning. And Danielle, she leaves us off with this episode with saying she is going to get Boston Rob because Bob the drag queen was her ride or die, and this was not something that she agreed with. On to episode 5. All right, so we start off episode 5 with the traitors meeting up. Rob immediately is like, look, I will never come for one of y'all unless you come for me. And Carolyn, she is really upset.
All I'm asking going forward,
Yeah.
just talk to us.
Of course, there's so little time. I tried to gather everybody in that room
Right.
and let you guys know that this is the way it's going. And I'm
He's like, what the heck? Now he's like, look, I had to come for Bob because he mentioned the 3 new guys, which essentially put a target on my back, signing my death certificate. Carolyn's like, but did Bob say your name though? Like, actually, he's like, well, he said the 3 new guys, but she's like, he didn't specifically say you, so I don't know. Now Carolyn's like, look, in the confessional, Carolyn's like, look, Bob had a lot of people that really were behind him, that really liked him and were, you know, backing him. And that's something that Rob is used to. So getting out Bob was an ego thing. It wasn't oh, I'm super scared because now I'm in danger thing. So they all are kind of talking like, okay, so who can we get out now? Like, you know, what's the right one? At first they mentioned Sam because no one is going after him. Carolyn says, look, I don't want to go for the housewives. I'm not doing that again. And there, like, honestly, I feel like it's such a cop-out to just get out all the housewives and leave all the men. Like, it just seems strange. So Carolyn is like, maybe we could get out Gabby so we could break up the Bambis. I mean, they're a pretty big group. But overall, Carolyn does realize she does not trust Boston Rob. And Danielle's kind of just being quiet. I feel like Danielle right now is kind of in a position where she's like, look, I'm not trying to have Rob trying to get me out, so I'm gonna be quiet. So, breakfast. Dylan is whispering to Danielle that Carolyn seems a bit all over the place. I don't know. Dylan is throwing out a new theory every day of who he thinks is a traitor, and he's always right. Like I said, Dylan is like Peter. He's always on point, whether you like him or not. So Danielle is like, look, in the confessional, she's like, I need a traitor to work with me to get out Boston Rob, but right now, Carolyn, she's everywhere. I don't know if I could trust her like that. So everybody slowly trickles in, and we do find out that the person banished is Robin.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
So, once again, this was all pushed by Boston Rob because he's the master of this game. We get a flashback of it all, and Danielle is like, yeah, sure, I'll go with it. You know, you're a master at this game, so why not? Sounded very sarcastic, but again, I think Danielle is, well, it seemed like she was trying to lay low to Rob, but then the rest of this shows me she clearly ain't. So Dolores is like, dang, another housewife? That logistically means I'm next. Oh my gosh, that's scary. So Ivar is filling in different people on Wes's theory about how you could know that someone is a traitor 100%. You know, how did Rob know 100% that Bob the drag queen is a traitor? So post-breakfast, Bob H still thinks that Nikki is really sus. Rob is also talking about the coffin situation, and Ivar is asking about, you know, like Wes and what Wes said. So Ivar is basically spilling the beans, saying, well, this is what Wes said. Just curious. And Ivar and Sam, they do think that Wes is trying to deflect, maybe because he's sus. So Rob then goes to confront Wes and is like, okay, like, did you say my name?
That it's like, how would anyone know for 100% certain that someone is a traitor? Now the biggest trick is to make sure that Rob doesn't think that I'm the one who started that rumor. And
I heard, like, did you say my name? Wes is like, you know, Wes tries to start out being like, hey, I heard your name was being said like a lot by a lot of different people. Wes is still trying to play like he's on his side. And Rob is like, yeah, I heard you have been the one saying it. That's what people told me, that you were the one saying it. Wes is like, no. I haven't said your name like that. I said your name as like a compliment. Like, you know, like, oh, I wouldn't, you know, like that's a crazy strategy. Like, oh my goodness, I could never do that. He's like, I'm not trying to put a threat out there. Now, Wes is like, look, In the confessional, he's like, I feel like Rob is more than likely a traitor, but obviously I can't put that out yet. So Rob and Carolyn, he tries to come up to Carolyn once again. He's like, look, I 100% got your back. Okay, I got you. Like, I would never come after you. I really do got you. Carolyn is like, this is a little weird that Rob like keeps trying to pull me aside and tell me he got my back, I'm okay, whatever. So Danielle says once again, like, she's not sure about Rob and Carolyn. She's like, oh my goodness, do they have like some kind of survivor alliance that I don't really know about? I don't really know right now, but I'm a little scared. So, on the way to the mission in the car, Rob is once again trying to still plant seeds against why he had to get out Bob the Drag Queen. He tries to tell Nikki that Bob the Drag Queen actually said that he was going to vote for her. You know, he really just wants to start to plant seeds with people. And again, I think Rob is playing hard and fast, and I think maybe some people are scared of him, so this is working. But I really think that he needs to be careful, because all it takes is a group of people turning against him, which we see Wes, we see Derek, we have seen people that do know he is a traitor, like straight up no. Okay, so the mission is they have to answer a riddle, and then they have to pick from like a bunch of pots that have different words as the answers. If you pick the pot with the right answer, when you smash it, it'll be gold. If not, it'll be black. So also, once you pick correctly, what you can do is you can put your portrait up on the wall, and that means you get a shield. The two last people whose portraits are on the wall get a shield. So we start off first with Bob H, and he answers incorrectly. Now, Derek is correct, and he puts up his portrait. Tom as well, correct, and puts up his portrait. So Danielle also answers correctly, and she puts up Dolores.
Sorry, Derek.
And then she says, I want to save a housewife this week. And to put up Dolores, she takes off Derek. Now, if you don't know, both Danielle and Derek are from Big Brother, and they know each other. They have a decent relationship. So the move makes zero sense. First off, for you to be so avidly gung-ho about randomly saving a house, even Dolores was like, oh, thank you. Okay, I'll take it. Because it's not like Danielle and Dolores are friends in any capacity. But then on top of that, to take off somebody who you also have a link with. What is Danielle doing? I was very confused. She says in the confessional she doesn't want Tom to worry, so that's why she didn't take him off. What are we doing, Danielle? So Chrishell takes off Tom and puts herself, obviously. Tom loses, so he doesn't get to put up. Danielle wins again and puts up Derek and takes off Chrishell to continue to stick with saving a housewife.
I have to stay focused at this point.
So Danielle, are you having regrets?
Yep, because I think I'm gonna get killed, so.
And then she starts crying because she's worried she's gonna get murdered. What was Danielle doing? First off, by making this move, it also makes her look like she's working with one of the housewives. Because again, those two don't have a link. So it's like, not only are you putting a target on your back, you're putting a target on Dolores's back. Because why would you randomly want to save her? It looks like the two of you are traitors. And on top of that, you win this game 2 different times. And you don't put yourself up any times? What kind of game are you playing, Danielle? Because it's not a good one. Ooh. And for the last question, 4 people all try to go at the same time. It was like Brittany, Sierra, 2 other people. But Sierra does win. And so she takes off Derek, leaves Dolores, and she and Dolores are the two that get shields. And again, Dolores is in pure shock at the generosity of Danielle that she would leave, like she would put her up there. I could not understand for the life of me why Danielle thought this was a good move. I did not. So, post-mission, Danielle says that the traitors left in Sierra and Nikki as buffers. No, she's in the car, sorry. So she's in the car and she's telling them that, look, I think that the traitors left in Sierra and Nikki as buffers because they feel we will banish them. But I feel that the true traitor is Carolyn.
And it's Carolyn. That's my theory.
I couldn't believe it. I could not believe Danielle sat in this car and said, and threw Carolyn under the bus. So is Danielle trying to be on bad terms with every single traitor? Because girl, you saw what they did to your pal, Bob the drag queen. What kind of move is this? So Danielle says now that she wants out Carolyn because she made it to the Survivor finals and she needs her out of the turret because that is in the way of her plan of getting out Boston Raw. I don't know if Danielle's paranoid. I don't know if Danielle maybe is seeing something I'm not seeing. But this plan on the sensometer is a 0. A 0. So Brittany and Danielle are talking, and Brittany is saying that she feels that it could be Sierra, but Danielle's like, I think it's Carolyn. And Brittany's like, no, I just don't think it could be her. Like, look at her. Like, a traitor would have to be. And Brittany's like, Danielle's like, no, but think about it. Like, she's doing that to throw us off. She is hardcore pitching Carolyn to Brittany. And Brittany ain't buying it. So then Brittany, Chriselle, is talking to Rob that Nikki's reaction in the car to her saying, to him saying that Bob the drag queen was going to vote for her was kind of weird. He was saying that she was saying that I don't know, but I feel like the way Nikki reacted was just kind of weird. Like it didn't seem like she was in a lot of shock or she even cared about that whole thing. And so now she thinks that because of that, Nikki is a traitor. Okay. So Wes is telling Rob, Derek, and the guys that he's 95% back on Nikki. And Derek is also looking at Rob. Derek says that he has seen a real big shift in demeanor in Rob. So he really is But right now, he still says he is more focused on Sierra. So Nikki decides that she's also going to confide in Gabby and be like, look, I'm going to tell you the 100% truth. I'm a faithful, period. Round table. So Ivar decides to start off and he says, look, I feel like the names that need to be thrown in the pot are Nikki, Sierra, and Rob. Ivar's like, look, Wes put out this theory and said, look, how do you know 100% that Bob the drag queen is a traitor unless you are a traitor as well? Why would you randomly come after Bob? And I think that's fair. I do think that's fair. I'm surprised that not more people have been putting that together. I feel like maybe only Derek, Wes, 2-3 people have been putting that together and not really anyone else. So Rob is like, I am 100% faithful. Look, I have felt convicted about Bob, the drag queen, for the whole time. But for me, I wanted to make sure that I was correct before I came for him. That's why it seemed like I randomly came for him. All right, good deflection. Now Nikki's like, look, I feel like Rob's a faithful. I'm going to just be honest. He's a good game player, and a good game player would not take out one of their own right now. Sam's like, look, if Rob's not dead tomorrow, I'm on to him, okay? Because that's going to be weird. Now Sierra's like, I am a faithful, okay? I know that it's been weird and my name has been thrown out there a lot. The reason why I haven't really talked a lot is because I was really shaken by the whole situation with the coffins. And for me, I just kind of put my walls up and retreat whenever I'm in a situation where I feel weird. You know, so Sierra's like, so Nikki's like, well, I think you're a traitor. And Sierra's like, well, I think you're a traitor. And Sierra's like, look, Nikki, if I'm being honest, I feel like you're always putting on a show. Okay, you don't laugh for real. You didn't really seem to have any reaction or care when Bob the Drag Queen got out. Like, I don't know, are any of your reactions even real? Like, it just seems weird. Brittany's like, I think it's clear that it was going to be Nikki versus Sierra. Like, it's very obvious that whoever is the traitors is trying to pitch you guys against each other. So Nikki is like, look, I feel like Sierra, you were acting weird when I tried to talk to you and you mostly stayed away from me after all of this happened. Now, Chrishell is like, oh my God, I'm scared. Like, I really want to say something, but like, I'm scared. Oh my God, I don't know.
Vote me out. I'm so sorry to bring up this point. It's just that, I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
I don't know if I should say it. I'm just not sure. She's like, okay, I did feel like when Bob the Drag Queen left, there was an energy shift with you, Nikki. And like, I don't know, I feel like it could be because you're a traitor. Bob H speaks up and is like, I know that Rob is a good player. And wouldn't it be a crazy power move to go after another traitor to establish dominance, to establish power? Like, that makes sense that he would want to go after Bob the Drag Queen. And they go straight to the vote. So the vote is pretty much unanimous. The only person who did not vote for Nikki was Nikki herself, who obviously voted for Sierra. But almost unanimously, Nikki is banished. Chrishell is sobbing. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I feel like a lot of the women on this cast are not strong players right now. I feel like a lot of them are very easily swayed. Chrishell was friends with Nikki, but was swayed so quickly to vote her out. I feel like there's no true alliances with anyone. Last season, we saw the Housewives. You can say whatever you want. I know people didn't like them, but they were a solid alliance that was going to stick together. This season, I feel like we do not have any alliances of people that are sticking together. Every single week, if someone whispers in your ear, hey, do you think it was a little weird the way that this person looked sideways a little bit in the car when you said something? They're ready to vote them out. And I think that's not working well in the favor of the women, because it does seem like a lot of the men are just kind of steamrolling, getting out all the women, because the women don't even stick with the other women. And I'm not saying as a woman, you just have to stick with women. Please. That's not what I said. But in this particular case, where these women are friends with each other, you should have a little more trust in your friends rather than the 3-4 guys who speak up every single time saying, oh, these are the traitors. So Chrishell is sobbing. She feels like what she said was what threw everyone over the edge to go ahead and vote out Nikki. So Derek and Wes, they have a conversation. Derek is like, I'm on to Rob, okay? Like, he is always on. He's always watching. Like, have you noticed? He's always kind of scoping out the room. He's like, look, I feel like it is weird that he threw out Bob the Drag Queen that night. But overall, he is fairly confident that Rob is a traitor. Now, Dylan and Chrishell, they are also talking, and Dylan is like, look, like, Danielle put your name out there. Like, I'm just letting you know. Sorry, not Chrishell, Carolyn. I don't know why I wrote Chrishell. Dylan and Carolyn are talking, and he's like, look, Danielle put your name out there. Like, I just wanted to tell you, I've been trying to talk her out of it, but she did put your name out there. And Carolyn is like, what? Why would she put my name out there? And I'm glad that seed was planted because it wasn't even mentioned at the round table. But that's going to come up next week. Carolyn is like, I am done pretending we are all working as a team. And that is where we leave off, y'all. So Traitors comes on tomorrow night. I am very excited. If you made it to this point of the video, that means you like the video. So please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. It helps to get the videos out there and inspires me to keep creating. Talking fast because my camera's about to die. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye!